Good morning. Appreciate y'all for tuning in and rocking with us for another edition of the Morning Breeze, man. Always rocking with you guys, as always, man. Outside of me, I got my guy, Mr. Media himself, Jordan JC, in the building.
That's right. Feels weird having the offseason here now. I won't get to see Caleb Williams play football until next year.
Yeah, that's crazy.
It's going to be a few months. I mean, it's not that long. I mean, it is technically this year, but I miss it.
Yeah.
All right?
Already. Got football in my blood.
Good, better, bet.
I know, man. Let it out. I know. You sound like Mojo Brooks a little bit.
Yeah. Hey, man. A lot to get into on today's episode. As got to talk about the report that Jaquan Brisker may be priced out of Chicago, and that the comeback may not be what many have hoped. It's a conversation that we've had at times. Who's going to be back on this team? Who will not be back? We had that yesterday. Also, got to take a look at this whole DJ Moore situation.
Yeah.
Is he really on his way out of Chicago? Courtney Cronin had some interesting thoughts yesterday on the Waddle and Sylvie show. We'll break that down, and I'll give you a scenario that maybe we didn't think about, and it came from us joking around about the Giants last night. All that more in today's episode of the Windy City Breeze Sports Talk Daily. Hit that like button, subscribe to the page, leave a 5-star review. Y'all know what to do. Big shout out to all you guys that show support to the channel. Soo Young, what they doing?
Come on. Push the button. Come on. Push the button. Come on, push the button.
Yeah, come on, push your button.
You heard what she said.
Y'all heard what Soo Young said. Hit that like button, subscribe to the page. Thumbs up on the channel before I tell you. Mama.
Come on now, get them up.
JC, how you feeling this morning, Brody bro?
Feeling good, Pat, man. How you doing, man? It's a refreshing day. As I'm looking at Caleb Williams, because as I'm looking at Caleb Williams kind of go from the game day on Sunday, and then Monday he's at the Blackhawks game, then he's at the Bulls game yesterday. It makes me feel good. He's continuing to instill himself into Chicago culture as he's out in the in the crowd and having people around him, and he looks fairly happy. It's making me happy. I look at the season as a victory in a sense, even though we did lose to the Rams. It's making me feel better about the overall season.
Well, we'll see. We'll see how next season goes. I'm not gonna lie to you. There was a part of me that was like, for a month, just be, just could turn into Obi-Wan Kenobi for a month.
Oh, just go away?
Up. Yeah, I mean, just or Anakin Skywalker even. Go full Darth Vader if you need to. You know what I mean? Just hood up, villainy in the face. You know what I mean? Can't believe we lost that game.
Get the Yoda training.
Yeah, you know what I mean? We'll see. Now, again, right, when you're how Caleb Williams played this season, you love what you saw to that young man. And I think that, the fact that he is so good in those pressure moments, there's probably a lot of confidence in we're going to come back a little bit different next year. So I ain't worried about being out of this game. But there was a part of me that was like, I don't know. I kind of need you to just dig deep into your soul for a couple of days. I feel like he was at the Blackhawks game the next day. Like, he had them tickets ready. Like,
hanging out with PCA a couple of days.
I don't like it. I don't like it.
You don't like it, huh?
There's another number one pick coming to town. He'll be hanging out soon. That's right, baby.
I can't stand you. What's wrong with you?
Yeah. White Sox got it coming. Let's get into the show, man. Appreciate y'all for showing love as always. Don't be upset. Don't hate. Yeah, you didn't get the number one overall pick.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, we made the playoffs. Got that butt whoop too.
That's okay. We still get an all-star. Don't you hate?
That's all right. Kyle Hamilton.
Would you come on?
Okay, let's do some football. Let's talk a little football. ESPN insider Dan Graziano talked about this on ESPN this week on the future of Jaquan Brisker with the Chicago Bears. He said the 2022 second-round pick still doesn't have an extension, which isn't the best sign in terms of his future with the team that has a ton of offseason decisions to make. It sounds to me as if Brisker will have an outside market that prices him out of Chicago. That is a tough here, especially with the type of player that Jaquan Brisker is. I said it yesterday. I think, and I will probably continue to say it all off season, right? Like, it's going to be tough for you to go out there and invest even more heavily than you already have at DB. You have to make a decision on Kevin Byard. You have to make a decision on Jaquan Brisker. You have to make a decision on Deshaun Wright. You have to make a decision on is that it? Is that all the DBs we got? Oh, CJ Gardner-Johnson. I knew I was missing somebody there. Like, there are some really good people. And listen, this is a good place to be in. This is a good problem to have. We had enough talent this season that we have to make tough decisions this year. This is what good football teams have to do every single year. So I don't have an issue with this report at all. I think it's just the reality of where the Bears are at. But I do think you have to ask yourself the serious question. Is Kevin Byard's leadership more important than Jaquan Brisker's skill set? Jaquan Brisker, we know he is somebody who can be utilized all over the field. There were times in that Ram game where essentially Jaquan was being utilized as a linebacker to fill in certain spots. He is a very, very versatile safety. I said this, and it's something that maybe we kind of forgot about because we got to see him out there for 17 games this season, and the defense wasn't great this year, no matter what. So maybe the conversation is dead on this. But remember, right, like, the defense had no energy. The defense had no fight 2 seasons ago when Matt Eberflus was here. The second Jaquan Brisker was out of the lineup, and it's one of those things for me where, when you start looking around at who are important pieces, is Quan one of those pieces that is vastly important, but maybe, just in a very different way, not in the, I'm going to be the guy in the front of the room leading? Because I'll tell you what, I heard this yesterday from Jack McGrath on the Chicago Bears podcast, and I am fully in on with JC on this now, because I am very big on, if a lesson hits you hard, learn the lesson. Don't run into the wall again. According to Jack McGrath, who was sitting front row and saw this in person, Tyreek Stevenson breaks up the play on Devontae Adams. Right? End of game, or into the half, maybe, or end of game, one or the other. Yeah. And big throw. You're trying to, okay, we're good. I think it was into half. We're good. All right, we're good. He then runs to the stands and starts to celebrate with the fans. Mm-hmm. There's 18 seconds on the clock. Mm-hmm. You gotta go.
Here we go again.
You gotta go. You got to go.
Here we go again. Yeah.
Apparently, Kevin Byard yells at him, lets him know the moment, gets him back into the fray, cusses him out the entire way back into the huddle. But if you can't learn the lesson, bro, I got nothing for you, dog. Mm-hmm. If you can't learn a game losing lesson and you in a playoff game running that back, it's GG's. You got to go. You got to go. So with all that being said, a lot of decisions to make around the DBs on this team. Where do you put Jaquan Brisker's value in all of that? Because bottom of the barrel for me right now is Tyreek Stevenson.
Well, yeah, no, I think Tyreek again is back on my you got to get rid of him list. Like to
that's
me,
unbelievable, bro.
Like you can't do that. But as you mentioned, Kevin Byard, his leadership speaks volumes. But you have players on here who you like them because they're good mentors, like your Case Keenums, who are clearly, vets on the team that you need to stay here for their, helping other players like obviously Caleb Williams to come along. Kevin Byard is still a player who not only has leadership, but still is very talented on the field. I mean, he led the league in the category, and he's still very good as a tackler. So not only is he a vocal leader, he's someone who can back it up with his play on the field. And so that's why I said, when we talked about it yesterday, you look at the comparison to him to Jaquan Brisker versus even keeping CJ
Yeah.
That's why I was on board. And I picked that lane and I said CJ Gardner-Johnson strictly because of what it will probably cost for you to keep Jaquan Brisker. That's going to be the tough decision. That will be, I think, the bear that everybody loves that will have to kind of see what
He's the one I rock with the most.
Yeah, because I'm looking at and by all accounts, he left it all out on the line. If this was his last game, it was a very good display of what it is that he can give you, from a tackling perspective. He had 14 total, 6 assists. He had 1 sack. You mentioned the time, I believe it was in the first quarter, where it was strictly him on 1 possession for the Rams where he sacked Matt Stafford, had a pass breakup down the field, and also tackled the running back. Like, he did it all in 1 drive for the Rams and stopped them on his own. And so you see the value, you see the potential, but I'm not going to double speak here. I still think that he's the one, if you're looking at other holes on the team, that possibly needs to go, because you're talking about some of the top safety contracts in the league. Kyle Hamilton, I believe, tops it all. And I looked at the average, 25.1 million. Next to him is Kirby Joseph at 21.5. Then you got Antoine Winfield at 21. Derwin James, 19, who's kind of fallen off a little bit. Minka Fitzpatrick at 18. The top 10 safeties in the league, everything is over 15 million. Are you saying that Jaquan is a top 10 safety? At this point,
yeah,
that's
probably
questionable.
I mean, I would say he's a top 10 safety, but I don't think that here's the part that's tough. It kind of is the running back of the defense, if you will. I know I can find it again. Now, you have to be able to go out there and do it. You have to be able to execute it, right? But I would say on that list, Jaquan is probably better than 3 and 4.
Winfield, at this point, Derwin James is kind of.
Derwin James is not Derwin James no more, and Minka's cool.
Yeah.
Minka's solid.
Buda Baker. He's definitely better than Xavier McCain.
And I think here's the tough part. You can utilize Jaquan very similar to how you utilize Buda. Now, Buda's a better takeaway DB than Jaquan is. He's more of a ball hawk. He can, but like, we were utilizing Jaquan Brisker as our best pass rusher at times. We've utilized him in coverage. We've utilized him. And so to me, it's not an easy decision to just say you walk away from a guy like that because of the leadership. Because here's the thing about good leadership is if you learn the lesson, which Tyreek, if you learn the lesson from the leader, you then can become the leader. And I know that's what Jaquan wants to be for this team, but is he ready to be put in that position? Like, there's a lot of tough questions that you do have to ask yourself with all of that. And when you look at Kevin Byard, right, like, he had a heck of a season. He deserves his chicken too. But are you going to go all out and pay more for the leadership, or do you think that leadership is ingrained in the mindset of this team? Like, you love having the leaders on the field. I think they're very important. I think it's the biggest problem with so many teams. And the NFL really can't do it. You kind of have to have veterans, but you see so many teams that don't have top tier talent guys that have maybe been a little bit over the hill as veterans on your team, and you're not getting the insight and the leadership you need. I think you have that with Grady Jarrett. I think you have that with Joe Tooney. I think you have that with Kevin Byard. And it is why it makes this such a tough decision. To me, it's not just Kevin Byard's old, you got to move on from him. He also led the league in interceptions this year. Like, you're getting production. You're getting great return on investment out of him. And so if I were to make a decision, I would probably, or if I were to assume what Ryan Pohl's decision would be, I would probably think that Dennis Allen wants to hold on to Jaquan Brisker. And you're going to have a tough conversation where Kevin Byard might not be walking through that door.
Oh, no. Here we go.
Now it's one of those things. It's what DA need. And how he utilized Jaquan Brisker, I think, is such an important need. How do you let Jaquan Brisker walk away?
I don't know. See, that's the scare for me because, here's where I do see a path. If you do keep Jaquan Brisker and you're saying that Kevin Byard is the one that has to go, I can see a path to that because obviously he had a really good season. And so somebody's going to want his services even at his age. I understand that could be, something, but you're still going to have to pay him. And if we're talking about going into this offseason and paying Jaquan 12 to 14 to 15 to 16 million dollars, then are we talking about, letting go of DJ Moore? There has to be somebody else
somebody has to get cut.
That has to be a big contract that comes off of the salary in order for us to truly accomplish what we need to do to make this next version of this team great. Because even Jaquan said it in his locker room. There's a lot of people that are not going to be here. We had a special season, but this team is going to look different next year. So, does that if you want your safety, if you want the beloved safety here, which again, I don't have an issue with that. I'm not saying that GJ is technically better than him when I said this yesterday about who to pick. I just think that it's smart, if I'm Ryan Poles at this point, to say, what is the hole that I need to fill? We know what that is. It's defensive line. And specifically, it's getting a premium pass rusher. Not just any old body, but a premium pass rusher. That's going to cost you a lot of money. You cannot sit here and say, okay, well, if I want to go all in on that this offseason, then I also have to pay my beloved safety a lot of money because he's playing like maybe one of the top 10 safeties in the league now. And I have to look at the other contracts. It's, average that out. Now I'm kind of stuck with letting go of somebody else that I really didn't want to let go of. So that's the conundrum right now. I don't know.
Now, here's the tough part you have to take into account as well when you talk about paying Jaquan Brisker. Like, again, I would think that Dennis Allen would want a guy like Brisker on his team, but you also want a guy like Kevin Byard, right? And that's what this conversation comes down to. Byard's going to be cheaper. Byard's also a little bit older, a lot bit older than Jaquan Brisker. Brisker's value is in the pass rush.
We could just fuse the two.
Okay.
Jaquan Byard, Kevin Brisker.
Kevin Brisker. Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
We'll call the people on you. I just realized I had this like and subscribe up the entire show.
Yeah. Get them to
like and subscribe. Appreciate y'all, but didn't mean to jam it in your face like that.
Oh, yeah, no.
Yeah, it was right there. Yeah, you blinked. It was gone. The value also for Brisker is in how good he was in run defense. The value, which is important, the value for Brisker is in how good he was in pass pro, because he was not great in coverage this season, right? Jaquan Brisker is not a great cover safety where you could just throw him anywhere and he's going to be breaking up passes. He wants to hit you. He wants to hurt you. He wants to make your life. You have to rethink your life. He's an old school football player, right?
Yeah.
He want to make you think about like, do I need to just like go work and, prepare for my kids? Like, do I need to get my affairs in order? He's that kind of player.
Yeah, right.
But you're not going to see him be elite in coverage, and we haven't seen that a ton. If you are going into this offseason looking to address the defensive line, do you still have the value in Brisker? Of course you do, as far as him being a blitzer off of the edge or how much you can move him around.
Yeah.
But where his real value came in this season was how he was able to be utilized in pass rush and in run stuffing. Your hope is that your 4 people up front can help you a little bit more in pass rush and run stuffing by you attacking that position a ton. So is the value still there for a player like Brisker as well?
I feel like if you're using him still as a pass rusher, then maybe if you get your premium pass rusher and you let go of a Byard instead, or you let go of a DJ Moore, then there's a path where that could still work. You're applying even more pressure and you're using him in different spots where, like you said, Brisker can be all over the field. I think DA is starting to see that, he can implement him that way, whether he did what he did in the first quarter, where he impacted a whole drive by himself. And so you add a premium pass, you add a Max Crosby to that, you add a Miles, hopefully, you add a Trey, that will make his job even easier, as someone who can kind of come in and try to hone in on the quarterback. So it's a lot to think about. It's a lot to kind of, thankfully I'm not Ryan Poles, because these are decisions you're going to have to really, really mull over in what direction you want to take this team, because as you've seen, this team is really, really good. It's ahead of schedule. And so this offseason is going to be really important as to who you keep on this team and who you don't, and for what reason, for the right reasons. Like, what does the value go? So
is it worth it for you to say? I think the question comes down to, and we'll talk about this player coming up here in a second, but is it worth it for you to make the cuts on offense that you need to have the additions on defense? Because there are two players that, if you want to trade one, DJ Moore's in that conversation. He's a big contract. And if you want to cut one, I believe cutting Cole Kmet this year, now you probably want to try and get some type of value for him, but he didn't have a ton of receptions this year. I think he's better than what we saw stats wise, right? I think there's a lot of stuff that Cole does that doesn't show up in the numbers. But if you want to add to this defense, you're possibly going to have to cut guys on the offensive side of the ball. And those are the two that their contracts, I think, make sense for them being moved on from if you were going to do that. We'll talk about DJ Moore here coming up in a second. Of course, got to listen into a word from our sponsors. But, Courtney Cronin was talking on Waddle and Sylvie about the final play, what happens with that final play, what's going on with everything in the future here of DJ Moore. And we want to talk about that and more coming up next. But first, let's listen into a word from our sponsors over at Aura.
Appreciate you guys for tuning in and watching the show. Today's episode of the podcast is brought to you by Aura. Have you ever done a Google search on your own name? You'd be surprised what pops up. Your full name, email address, home address, health records, your relatives. It's all out there. And that's why I've been using Aura, the sponsor of today's video. Aura shows me which data brokers are selling my information and automatically submits opt-out requests just for me. Cleaning up my information not only helps reduce the amount of spam I get, but it protects me from hackers who could use that information to help them access my social media, bank accounts, and other sensitive information. It's really simple to set up. I don't have to download several apps or go to things like antivirus, VPN, password management, parental controls, identity theft, but you can get all of that in one place with Aura. I get everything at one affordable price as well. You may already have one or two of these tools, but not having Aura is like leaving the front door locked while leaving the back door and windows wide open. For you to be able to take advantage of Aura, we got a special deal for you here today. Stop data brokers from exposing your personal information. Go to my sponsor at https://aura.com/the Windy City. Again, that is aura.com/the Windy City to get a 14-day free trial and see how much of your information is being sold. Breeze Nation, what is good? It's your boy Pat the Designer back at it again. Ladies and gentlemen, we got merch. That's right. New website, new merch, all out. We've been telling you guys to pull up on us. Now you can at twcbreeze.com, where you can find out all of the latest stuff going on. What all can they find there, Super Producer?
Listen, you can join the nation, sign up to our mailing list, and be up to date for events and news. You can also visit the shop page and order merch, because we have t-shirts, we got hoodies, we got mugs, we got hats, we got all kind of stuff. So, hey, we appreciate you being tuned in with us. And remember to subscribe to our YouTube page and follow us on all our socials. Check us out at twcbreeze.com.
He's way too excited.
I am.
What?
Red Nation, are we here?
Oh, okay. Your mama not here?
Uh-oh.
I guess bring him here.
Oh, we got the baby showing up on screen again. Yeah. get the algorithm on our side.
I'm not finna give him a sausage right now. I'm doing a whole show.
I don't get the algorithm on our side. Hey, Maya! You gotta love it. Family affairs. We got little more.
What are you doing up?
He said, it's been a dang long time since I've been on the stream. I'm the guy that brings the numbers. We got baby Pat in the building.
Why are you awake?
We're going to get 10,000 views now. Yeah.
Hit that like button, subscribe to the page, leave a 5-star review. Y'all know what to do.
Baby Pat looking like, what is
He just came down, just holding the baby. I'm like, what am I supposed to do with this baby?
Hey, at least we know the people love the baby, all right? At least we know that, all right?
We got to get an in-house nanny. We got to get on some Brady Bunch stuff. Where's that maid that just weirdly lived with all of them?
Oh, my God. Get you a maid service.
All right, getting back into this. Let's talk a little bit more football here. That was so random. Listen, the DJ Moore conversation has gotten loud here in Chicago. Yeah. We know that DJ Moore is under contract, but with a lot of the changes that we've talked about that the Bears possibly could be trying to make this offseason, there's a conversation about moving on from it. What you saw in that last play on tape looks rough. When you heard Courtney Cronin's comments, though, she talked about how it seems like it's going to be very tough to move on from DJ, even with all the bad optics that are there. And I do have kind of a theory on some of these optics, but even with all the bad optics that are there, you don't know what Rome Odunze is yet. And for that reason, it's going to make it very tough to move off of DJ Moore. We like what we saw to Luther Burden, but we don't have an answer per se just yet. And do you want to move on from that veteran receiver? When you hear comments like that, Jordan, does the DJ Moore, he's gone this offseason, seem a little bit more murky than maybe we initially thought?
Well, yeah, it could be because, as you mentioned, the number 9 pick in Rome Odunze is not necessarily gotten to the place that we thought it would be. He had a really, really good start to the season. I believe he had 5 touchdowns in 4 games. You know, his father was complaining about he's not getting enough, receptions and this or that. And, everything was going swimmingly in the beginning of the season for him. And you started to see that connection really like shine over time with him and Caleb. And then when he got hurt with the foot injury, that's when things kind of went downhill. And then, of course, throughout the season, he's always had issues with drops. And so in those moments where you needed Rome Odunze to be your guy, to be the guy that he potentially should be with all the skill set and all the talent, he's not coming through. And that's when we turn to the Colston Lovelands and the Luthers and the DJs in certain spots, game-winning drives. And so is there a path where we might have to keep DJ because Rome's not ready? Yeah, that is a conversation to be had. Now, the unfortunate thing is DJ sometimes himself has issues with the chemistry with Caleb. That's the whole point of this conversation. And Courtney mentioned it as much, is there's miscommunication in week 20.
Yeah.
Like that's the problem. That's something that should be patched up in week 6 or week 2. You're talking about, okay, let's go over the details again. Let's give attention to this. This is where I want you on this route. I need you to flatten it out instead of going a little bit uphill or upfield. I needed you to be a little bit sharper in your route running. And she said, DJ is known as being a decent route runner. I personally don't agree with that. I'll be honest, which I don't think he's the best route runner, but because of that, I feel like
he's a pretty good route runner.
I feel like when he's not the primary target, he kind of jogs or loafs out his routes. When he is the primary target, I feel like that's when he knows, all right, I got to be crisp. So to me, that's a give or take. For this point, though, you might have to keep DJ Moore. And again, this goes into the conversation of who else do you have to let go of? Who's your favorite Bear that's going to be gone? Which is why we talked about Jaquan, because if Rome is not ready to take over that reign of number 1 as we thought he did, and now he's saying, I gotta really work on my catching and working this offseason, then DJ probably has to stay here. So that's, again, $27.5 million that you're not going to be able to take off the books and go into, something else that you need, obviously, on the defense. So that's the concern, that we might have to keep him.
I don't even know how. To me, it's not a concern. I think, I've said this before. I think there's a lot of people that look at DJ Moore and they go, well, we got younger receivers that are cheaper, so it's time to move on from DJ. And so you create, I think a lot of what has happened with DJ is people creating reasons why it's okay to move on from him, right? He's not as good. He hasn't made a Pro Bowl or been an All-Pro, I guess. He hasn't, or he didn't run the route hard enough on that final play. And
yeah,
I think that last one is probably the one that I look at and I'm like, valid. I do wonder this because there seems to be something else Courtney brought up in there. Was that he had went into the tent the second time. A or an independent neurologist went in there. And so they're clearly testing him for a concussion. He passes protocol, assumingly.
We don't know.
Or was it a Jackson Dart situation?
Just get out there.
Where DJ got the answers, it was like, let me get back out there. Because we know that happens as well. And I wonder that because I said this when it happened. He left immediately after. And the optics of that are terrible. But if you start talking and it sounds like you have a concussion, now all of a sudden teams getting fined, subject to possibly lose draft picks because we saw a team that got fined there. And maybe it was a situation like that. Now, I don't know. I can't speculate, but I didn't know what he went into blue tent for. The first time it was because he got hit in the ribs. So I didn't know if he had went back in because of that. Exactly, son.
There you go.
Like, I was like, was this a don't blow the spot up type of situation?
You know what?
Was this a hey, let me get up out of here? Because it would make, again, whether you think you're in that route or not, whether you think that you're a part of that route or not, Rome Odunze is running a clearing route for you. So there is an opportunity where the ball could get to DJ Moore. It doesn't make sense that he was running the wrong route or that he wasn't running hard enough in that situation. It's the only thing that I've wondered about. Again, if it's just he was running the wrong route and you were on the wrong page, that's tough. Because like you said, it's week 20. You shouldn't be having that. It's week 20. Now, again, first year of the system, 20 weeks into this, figuring it out. Maybe you should be on the same page. But now you get to work on all of that stuff this offseason. Now you get to refine that relationship. Now you get to understand what the page is. Heck, you probably didn't know what the book was until week 6.
Yeah.
And so I do wonder what that looks like in year 2 of this. I think we look at that with Rome. We look at that with Luther. We look at that with Colston, and we go, this is going to be great in the second year of this. He's going to work with DJ.
Yeah.
He's going to get on the same page and do more with DJ in that situation. But I did wonder that when she was like, he was in there with an independent neurologist, I was like, I wonder if that mug was concussed. And just we've heard Julian Edelman talk. You know, you on the sidelines and as you walk past somebody, you go, it's January 21st. Your name's DJ Moore. We're playing the Rams. That's all you need to know. All you got to do is answer the questions. So, I don't know. That one was interesting to me. I was like, oh, okay, so we doing that. Maybe the spot got blew up.
The math is mathing because as I'm thinking about it, I mean, even Courtney mentioned that he didn't make himself available for any locker room interviews right after the game, nor in the clear outs.
In the clear out either? Like normally it's like, okay, if it's a bad game.
Yeah.
In the clear out, you gotta speak.
You gotta say something. And you know that you're the focal point of how that ended.
And
you're one of the players.
She said nothing was left in his locker except for the paperwork at that point. Like, except for the playbook.
I mean, look, it's mere speculation.
We speculating at this point. We going down
the rabbit hole. Yeah, we're being detectives right now. But I mean, now everything's kind of making sense. But if he just so happens to have a concussion, and you know they're obviously protecting him, then or protecting themselves, I should say, then okay, well, I guess maybe that adds up. But my thing is that again, if DJ Moore is part of this team going forward, there has to be some improvement in in that area. I understand if you were concussed and maybe you felt you were running your hardest out there and you really weren't.
He might not have known he was on the football
field.
Yeah,
that man thought he thought the game was over already, apparently. He said, I'm not the primary target. I'm just going to jog in the la-la land.
What was that? It's a throwback, but if you remember it's hilarious. Remember in Madagascar when they shot the tranquilizers at the mugs? And he was having like the LSD dream. It was like, who can take the sunrise? Sprinkle it with
he went to a whole other world.
The Candy Man. That's how DJ Moore was out there running that route.
Yeah, man. Like he's in Twilight Zone. So I look. Again, I think that this is probably going to be one of the toughest off-season discussions, for the Dennis Allen, Ben, and Ryan. Is, do we keep him? Why do we keep him? Why do we let him go? Who else are we going to keep on this team if we let DJ Moore go? And you asked, do you take away from the offense earlier? You asked, do you take away from the offense to help the defense out? I think because of the depth of the roster on the offensive side, we can get away with that. But then again, there's the question mark of, is your other guys that are going to be on this team ready? The Romes, the Luthers, the Colstons. I believe that Colston and Luther are ready to take the next step, in my opinion. You got to get the hands a little sure, in moments, but you got to have Rome really, really kind of build that confidence back up after what happened at the end of the season and how he played in the last game. Obviously, missing a sure touchdown, or at least near a touchdown pass from Caleb. So these are all question marks that are going to be during the offseason. They have to get answered. But we'll have to see how DJ looks maybe in the coming weeks. Maybe there's another report that comes out.
Listen, DJ is the one who's getting a lot of the finger pointing and the blame. There's a lot of blame to go around in that game. Right? It doesn't come down to that one play. It does go to the fact that Rome Odunze drops a very key pass in that moment. It does go down to the fact that Colston Loveland doesn't complete a third down in a very crucial situation. Luther Burden had a tough drop. You had drops all over the place. Olamide Zaccheaus, I believe, had a crossing route which possibly could have been a walk-in touchdown.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's true.
You know what I mean? And listen, I'll say this as well. Caleb Williams shares some of the culpability in all of this. Everything's a bullet.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? I'm 6 yards away from you.
Wow. It's a brick.
You know what I mean? It's the coldest game of the season in Soldier Field.
Yeah.
And everything's a bullet.
Yeah.
Now, you've caught passes from him in practice. You've caught passes all season. In the moment, you got to show up. It doesn't take the culpability away from those receivers. But that's a real thing. Like J-Mac talked about, he said Kyle Orton, all he knew how to throw was bullets, and he threw one at Thomas Jones. He said it left the Rydell on Thomas Jones' helmet. He threw it so hard because he was only like 2 yards away from him.
Bro,
he said Thomas Jones picked that football up and threw a bullet right back at him.
Like, bro,
and
what
Kyle
are you doing?
Orton was like, all right, maybe we got to learn a little bit of touch. I'm not saying throw a football at Caleb Williams. To me, he's a much more important quarterback than Kyle Orton was for this team right now, though could have won a Super Bowl with Kyle Orton if he was out there. But bottom line for me is there are moments, especially playing in Chicago, where it can't just be you fire it out of a gun. Where it has to be, hey, let's feather this football a little bit. Let's layer this throw, right? Let's make this a little bit easier on my wide receivers. And Josh Allen had to learn that. Russell Wilson had to learn that. There's a bunch of guys that had to go through and learn that lesson. And I think Caleb Williams that's his next step, right? I think a lot of the drops that you saw this season, I'm not going to say a lot. I think there's a portion of the drops you saw this season that aren't drops next season with a little bit more touch.
I agree with that. I think there's a lot of improvement in the little areas that Caleb and a lot of these players are going to have to make. And I think they will make as they get more comfortable with the playbook and more with the scheme of Ben Johnson's offense going into year two. But you're right. There's a lot of little things that happened during that game, because even adding on to what you said, I was kind of befuddled by the fact that Caleb he made the choice of throwing to Theo Benedict on one of the passes.
That was crazy. And fired a bullet at him.
And dude, it popped up. I'm like, oh my God, here's the game. And thankfully nobody
and fired a bullet at him from
I'm
3
like,
yards away.
Receiver. Like, what are you doing? I understand, like, he's an option, but Jesus. And then, of course, the Dennis Allen blitz call on 3rd and whatever, when you clearly saw Puka Nacua open in the slot where Kyler Gordon came in for the blitz. I called that before the snap even happened, that he was going to complete that pass. It didn't look good. Matt Stafford is very good when you're blitzing him. So there's a lot of little issues and little things, of course, we can dissect about the game. But again, going forward, I think that as a team, yes, there's a lot of improvement that needs to be made, along with the choices of who's going to stay here.
Yeah.
And, it's not just on DJ Moore that they lost the game. That's the last game. So that's the last thing that we see. So, of course, we put a lot of focus on that, because that could have won us the game or put us in a position to win. However, like you said, going into the offseason, there are going to be a lot of improvements. There are going to be a lot of players that need to focus on the little things to make this team better.
Shout out to the super chat from King Wicker World. He said, Caleb, more Greg Maddux, less Randy Johnson.
Hey, I like that. Greg Maddux. Boy, I love Greg Maddux.
Hey, what Randy we talking Greg about, Maddux. Though? Because we saw an evolution of Randy. Randy, by the end, was painting them corners.
No, he knew how to.
Randy was throwing that mud.
Yeah. But Maddox could throw you a 50-mile-an-hour fastball and still strike you out. Hey, that was the crazy thing about it. He still could strike you out.
Yeah, listen, there's not a lot of pitchers like that in baseball anymore. Hey, y'all had one. Where'd he go?
Yeah, Kyle Hendricks.
Hey, where's he at? How's he doing?
I don't know.
Is he gone?
He's past his prime.
Is he dead?
He's past his prime. Don't you? He gave him great years.
Hey, right? Listen, here's the tough part. You can't be past your prime if your arm don't fall off. Like, it's not like he's gonna pitch slower.
Well, look, some people just can't maintain a certain skill level.
Okay, all right. Okay.
I can't stand you. Whatever.
Sounds like a Cub. Hey, man. Appreciate y'all for tuning in. Show love. Hit that like button. Subscribe to the page. Leave a 5-star review. Y'all know what to do. I would hit the horn because we are over 100 in the chat. Over 200 in the chat. There's 200. But there's a. Oh, you woke up?
God.
You awake again. And mad at me for like doing my show.
He said, "You got some nerve."
He's so upset
right now. You got some nerve podcasting.
I think my mother-in-law's upstairs, so I'm gonna set up this question, let you do some answering, and I'll be right back. Right. Don't mess it up.
I might.
No, Ryan Poles and Ben Johnson speak today. I believe at 10 o'clock. Both of them will be speaking. So I'm literally leaving here, running up there to set up for that. But what do you want to hear from Ryan Poles and Ben Johnson today? What do you want to hear about the season and, of course, about the future of this offseason, JC?
All right, yeah. As Pat go ahead and puts the baby to sleep. Oh, look at that. Look at that daddy daycare right there.
As we make sure this offseason is a success, what do I want to see coming up when Ryan Poles and Ben Johnson speak? Well, number one, I want to know, do they have an official plan going into this offseason? This offseason is going to be very different from others because we're now not in a position where we're looking forward to the top of the draft. We're not looking forward to the top 10 picks or the best talent and the best prospects in the draft, because we're now a team that has elevated to a obviously we had a really great season. Some say we had ahead of schedule season where we probably should have only won 9 games, but we had more games. We won a playoff game. And so now you have to look at the tough decision of, as I've just said, do you let some of your best players on this team go because of the contracts? We just talked about DJ Moore, and we just talked about, do you keep him or do you let him go? Because he is the highest paid player on this team. And for me, I think Ryan Poles and Ben Johnson have to really lay out their blueprint of what it is that they need to do, that they need to accomplish, whether it's Ben Johnson making sure that he talks with these guys and lets them know this is the offseason plan I need for specific players to get better, whether he wants to talk to Rome, on the side, or obviously gets with Caleb and tells him what he wants him to work on. That's what I think Ben Johnson needs to do. Ryan Poles obviously needs to be the contract savant that he is, year to year. I think that he's clearly in his wheelhouse when it comes to that. And so he's going to have a task this offseason to do that. And obviously pick the right players in the draft. You need your defensive line. You need your defense to be better than what it was. And then get with Dennis Allen. Let him know what are the type of players that you want. Obviously Dennis Allen didn't have the type of players that he wanted on this side of the ball this year, but he did what he made kind of like beef stew out of nothing this year with what he had. And so that's what I think the game plan is going forward is Ryan has to make sure he drafts right. Obviously, you got to get a big fish in the free agency. That's the biggest thing for me is you got to get one of these guys who clearly have an issue with their team, whether it's Max, whether it's Miles. The Cleveland's not really going in the right direction. Yeah. So maybe you can pull him from that. So that's the off season I think that they need to have.
Yeah, listen, it has to be a very aggressive offseason in my mind. I think your window's open. Mm-hmm. And I think you open that window, especially by making certain moves. I think you blow the window off and say, we got to put a door in. If you go out and you get a Max Crosby, or you go out and you, again, pie in the sky situation, you go get a Miles Garrett. Right? Like, that is literally the heavens open up, the light shines down. Hallelujah. And listen, there's probably a package where you could, look at that. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. I mean, there's probably a package that you could put together where, hey, y'all got Shedeur Sanders over there. Don't you want a nice little wide receiver to pair up with Shedeur and add to Harold Fanning Jr. and that nice running back room you got with Quinshon Judkins? Wouldn't you like something like that? Hey, don't you want you maybe a nice number one corner? Maybe I throw in a Montez Sweat. I'm just giving everybody away at this point. I'll send you Tyreek Stevenson. Yeah, hey, all of them. Hey. It's on me. It's on me. No, it's on me.
One of them. I don't want everybody leaving.
2, 3, 4, all of them.
Jesus.
But no, man, like that's one of the like pie in the sky situations. But if you go get a Max Crosby and you find a way to add him in and maintain some of the dynamic you have defensively with some of those key pieces that you have, you're talking about your Super Bowl window being open. That's what I want to hear. We're going to be aggressive. We're going after big fish. And of course, he's not going to say that, right? Because he has to maintain some type of leverage. But like, in a sense, right? What does this offseason mean? Is this going to be similar to last offseason? Are there going to be a ton of restructures? Or like, here's the situation we haven't thought about, and it's the one that we have seen more often here in Chicago. You just bring people back. Jaquan Brisker is a Ryan Poles draft pick. Velus Jones survived 6 seasons. Not really, but y'all know what I mean.
For whatever reason. Yeah.
It's a Ryan Poles draft pick. Ryan Poles is very big on bringing back his guys, especially when they show something. Kyler Gordon brought back.
That's a good point. Yeah.
Is this hey, we just going to run it back? Dio Adangbo's going to figure it out. No. Grady Jarrett's going to get better even though he's a year older. Javon Dexter, this is the year he finally shows it. And Montez Sweat, 10 sacks and not a lot of pressures. Like, that is a very real scenario that could happen. It's not one I would expect from DA because I think you do got to get your pieces in here. But is that something that you focus on via the draft?
I'm going to be very interested to now see. I'm really going to key in on what it is that he says in here in a couple of hours, because if he sits here and says, hey, we really enjoyed the spectacle of the season. We played better than, where we thought we would be. And so for that matter, I think that there's a path to us keeping this roster essentially intact. I'm going to have problems with that. That's where I think I will have problems. If you're talking about, let's give the Dio Adangbo another chance. I'm sorry. You need to learn from your past if that's the case. You got to learn.
Ryan Poles has been good at moving off of bad pieces. Outside of Velus.
Not right away. I mean, who?
Chase Claypool was gone by that next trade deadline.
Well, Chase kind of shot him. Yeah, he made himself also bad. He kind of talked down against the team.
Talking yourself out the league is impressive.
Yeah, he helped himself out the door. I don't think Dio's going to do that. I think Dio's a good...
I'll never forget. Listen here, you Chad.
Yeah. I remember like, whoa, you were there, right? With,
yes, I was standing next to him when he said it.
Like,
it was me and Herb Howard standing right there, and he's just calling the DBs bands, and we just sitting there like,
wow, all right.
Are they fighting after this? Like what's going on with that? What's happening?
I just remember him being on the Pivot podcast talking about he was a top 5 receiver. And I'm like, yeah, okay. All right, whatever. Yeah,
remember when we sucked? Man, that was tough.
Yeah, that was tough. Not anymore.
Not anymore.
But I totally agree with you, though. I think that Ryan's going to have to say something different from that. That's the only thing I don't want to hear is that we feel good about where most of this roster is. And so I think going into this offseason, they're just going to be after a few additions. We're going to really give attention to the draft. This is the year where, as we mentioned, we might have to forget those picks.
Yeah.
If there's a path to you getting Max and you getting a Miles, hopefully, and you have to put up the 26 and the 27 first round along with a couple players or a player, you better do it. Do it.
The realistic scenario is if you feel like you're in a championship roster situation, you got to do it. Right? Like if you feel like your offense is championship caliber, how do you not?
Mm-hmm.
How do you not make that play? Owen said, what did he say, Pat? Oh, you haven't heard this story? Oh, yeah. Chase Claypool basically called everybody on the field a bunch of bands, which that's an acronym for, you can figure that part out.
Yeah.
And it was
crazy.
The second Justin Fields training camp, and like the defense was talking crazy, but like respectful trash talk. And then like we got on the field the next day, we were like, do y'all want to see them fight back? You want to see them go at it, yada, yada, yada. And mother was like, listen here, y'all ain't nothing but a bunch of bands. And we was like, okay, that's a little past crazy. All right, who's fighting them?
Mm-hmm.
Although he was 6'4" and nothing but muscle, but Canadian. So, no. Hey man, Owen Spencer with the super chat. Couple of super chats said, let's bring in a top defensive end, restructure contracts, make decisions at the trade deadline. Keep DJ, keep developing Caleb, add Max, keep 9, and run it back. If you can find a way to do that and get DJ to agree with it.
Hey, Owen. Yes,
King
I would
polls.
love that.
Hey, look, King polls. His next super chat is like, y'all act like DJ wouldn't be open to a restructure. Probably not.
Maybe.
I mean, he literally, what is he, 27 million?
27 and a half, yeah.
He is not even a top 10 paid wide receiver in this league.
Bro, Muggs is getting paid. Now, if you can find a way to keep Jaquan, pay him, keep DJ, and restructure the contract and add Max Crosby, that means you're giving up all your top draft picks.
Chase is 40. Jefferson's 35. CD 34. DK 32. Wilson, yada, 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 yada.
32 is crazy.
Yeah, it is. DJ is the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13th highest paid wide receiver in football.
Mm-hmm.
And he's probably going to go down real quick this offseason.
Yeah.
So I don't know. He's probably going to end up being around like the 18th to 20th paid wide receiver in football.
I agree. There's going to be some others that truly going to take over the top. So Owen, I don't know, man. If they do restructure, there's a path to that. But that to me, that's a long ways away. That's a dream. You keep everybody and you add Max. Oh boy. All right.
I'd love it.
Okay.
But you got to give up somebody on the defensive end. Again, that may be a situation you in. You're giving up JJ. You're giving up Montez. You find a way to get out. I mean, you can't get out of Tremaine's money, I believe, this year with no dead cap. So that might be a move that you make. Tremaine was fine this year. I mean, he was. Yeah. I wouldn't say that he was elite. I think he was worse after the injury, and he was much better before it. Welcome to the NFL. But yeah, man, it's gonna be interesting to see what those guys say. We'll be doing the Chicago Bears podcast from Hallis, so make sure to tap in with us on that as well. And of course, we'll have episode posting later today about what we hear from the boys up at Hallis. But hey, man, appreciate y'all for tuning in and showing love. As always, on another edition of The Morning Breeze, hit that like button, subscribe to the page, leave a 5-star review. Y'all know what to do. For Mr. Medium Self, Jordan JC, it's your boy, Pat the Designer. Back at it again. Y'all stay safe out there, Chicago. Bed down. One love. Peace.
See what they say. It'll be a fun off season.
It's a fun year for Chicago. We got a lot of first round picks in this city, bro. Shout out the Pope, I guess. I don't know who to shout out on this. I
don't know.
We got Caleb.
The Sox are getting back some really nice picks from the
Sox got some nice players back. Sox traded Luis Roberts, got some really nice players back.
All right, good stuff.
And they got the number 1 overall pick in the draft this year.
Oh, they do?
Yes.
Oh.
The Blackhawks had the number 1 overall pick, the Bears, the White Sox, and the Sky. But I mean,
we don't even know about the WNBA right now.
That organization is a dumpster fire at this point.
WNBA as a whole is a dumpster fire right now.
That's stupid. I just hate watching dumb organizations.
Yeah,
and it's what we watch most of our lives.
We want more money. Well, we're not giving it to you. Well, nope, shut down. All right.